now that they finally caught him, they wanted to kill him, and he's just like, no, Carl wouldn't have wanted that. So, like, the whole point, or like the whole theme of this upcoming season is like, oh, this paradise is starting to grow, but there's inner turmoil is what's going to break it up. So that's another option. Like, that could happen.
And there's zombies.
Yeah, and there's zombies. Yeah. There is zombies. There are zombies, people.
Yep.
It's not like one of those shows, that Lost show. It just never ends.
It went nowhere.
Yeah, no, this
went nowhere.
I don't understand. I mean, a ton of people like the show, and I've never really been into zombies around that, but I feel like it's so much more because people that you wouldn't expect like that like it. So I don't know.
It's a good storyline. That's why it gets really. It's not about the zombies. It's about the people who are suffering throughout the whole zombie apocalypse and their relationships and the new kinds of enemies or friends that are created because of it. It's the whole thing.
The zombies are more of like the setting.
The background.
They're really just a part of the background, a part of the backstory. Really, I mean. Because I'm like you, I was not a zombie fan at all. In fact, I hated even just seeing anything like that. But my dad actually got me into this show after the second season. So as I started watching it, I'm just like, dude, this is weird. And then I was like, oh, wait, you're actually learning. You're just following these people trying to find, trying to survive in this type of world. You're not focusing on all these crazy zombies like Resident Evil destroying the world. What I thought it was. Yeah, no, like this, it started off pretty much a guy waking up from a coma and everything's already done. Everything's quiet. There's no people around anymore. So that's what kind of caught me. It was like, oh shit, like this dude's just really trying to survive.
Which is very similar to like 28 Days Later. That's how that movie starts.
That's how that movie starts too. The zombies are a little different in that one.
They were a lot more
pissed off and fast. But no, and I mean that's why this was a little different. This was like the Night of the Living Dead mixed with Dawn of the Dead, in that kind of setting, like the way these zombies are. They're really slow, starting to get all decrepit and stuff. So it's interesting. Like I highly recommend it. It's on Netflix. They have like all 8 seasons now on Netflix. So I mean,
imagine watching 8
seasons. Yeah, and each season's like 22 episodes.
Yeah,
so
dude.
You guys got a lot.
They're hour longs.
They're like hour longs. Yeah, and then there's a few episodes that are like 2 hours long.
Yeah, because it's a very special episode.
Yeah, because it's a special episode. Because special things happen.
Well, I look forward to it, man.
What are your thoughts on that?
Well,
I know you watch it.
Well, I watch it. I don't read the comic books like I know you do.
Yes.
You're up to date with the comic books. So is Steph.
Mm-hmm.
And they tell me, things like, oh, Rick's arm gets cut off or his hand gets cut off or shit like that at some point. But obviously that hasn't happened in the TV show. The TV show and the comic books are like they're at a fork of the road where they've separated quite a bit ago.
Yeah, they separated pretty much from the start, almost from the start. Like maybe 3 episodes in, they had 3 characters that were nowhere in the actual comic book in there.
Daryl's not in the comic book.
Daryl's not in the comic book. Merle, the guy that does get his arm cut off. His brother. He wasn't in the comic book. These were guys that were made specifically for the show. And Robert Kirkman and Scott Gimple, the producer of... Scott Gimple's the producer, the executive producer of Walking Dead, and Robert Kirkman's the actual creator and writer of the comic and the show. They specifically said that, look, this show, it's going to be its own thing. Like, yes, we're going to use some of the little themes from the actual comic, but we're going to go a different direction altogether. Like, you guys may not like the direction, but it's our way of telling the story. Because in the comic...
How old is this comic?
The comic's been around since, I want to say, 08, like 08, 07.
So what's the point in creating something that's like the comic but not going to be the comic?
Well, that's the... I mean, you can use that argument with any movie.
You can use it with any comic movie
that came
now.
out of a book.
Yeah, any you can use that argument with any, like, the new comic book movies or anything, or the comic book TV shows.
Well, I mean, a lot of them do... The storyline is similar. I mean, but
yeah, well, like for instance, I don't know.
Who's gonna die? Who's gonna. Yeah,
well, and but that's the thing. Like in the way this is, you don't know who's gonna die because you think it's gonna go the way the comic went. That's what they're trying to do. They're trying to make you think it's going exactly how the comic is by giving you little teasers, and then all of a sudden they'll turn it, they'll twist it. So that's mainly what they're doing. Because think about it, for me, I'm a fanboy of a lot of different types of comics and shows. DC, Marvel, Star Wars, all of that. So whenever they do things that are like, they'll get me, like, especially with comic book movies or TV shows, they'll show a story that I would read, and reading it's much different from actually seeing that thing actually go on.
Your mind's going crazy.
Yeah,
you're like, what would happen if somebody were to put this on a screen?
Yeah, exactly. You don't see all the little nuances that you would see it on screen. So when you see, even if it's just an adaptation, if it's not like we don't, we don't need to see a carbon copy
like the Gotham, the TV show.
Yeah.
That's how it was. I was like trying to connect it all the time, you know.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's how Gotham is. Like it's not
Smallville.
You know, they're trying to be their own little thing, try and connect all these little stories, but in reality, you weren't seeing the full story. So, see, there you go, burping. See, it's not. I'm sorry. It's just it's interesting. It's enjoyable for some. You know, for some it's enjoyable.
Well, I'm curious on what's going to happen after he dies, because obviously it doesn't happen in the comic books as quickly, or at all. I'm curious to see how that might be tied into what's currently going on with their other show, their spin-off, Fear the Walking Dead, because they're connecting those together now because of one of the characters jumping ship over to the other show.
Yeah.
With Rick gone, I think the show can still survive. I think a lot of what's been going on lately hasn't even been about him, so I think it's fine.
That it can easily transition into a non?
Yeah, and considering how, considering how Daryl wasn't really a part of the comic book to begin with. I mean, he can just be the new protagonist and take over as that. Although he's more soft spoken.
Yeah, he's more of, I would say, like an anti-hero kind of guy.
He's the muscle.
Yeah,
of the pack.
He's not really going to be the outspoken leader. He's going to be the second in command.
So somebody needs to come in and take that place.
And I'm hearing that like that's Maggie.
Okay,
Maggie's going to be that kind of leader because she's leading the Hilltop, I believe.
All right.
So I believe like they're saying that she may be the one that kind of takes over that role going forward.
You know, there's podcasts just about the show.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Hey, Chris Hardwick, Talking Dead. It's an industry, bro.
Yeah. So Walking Dead comes back.
What are the rules, though? I mean,
what do you mean?
Like me, I haven't watched it, and then they get all pissed off. Oh, why are you talking about the episode and blah blah? It's like the rules go out the window now, or
nah.
I don't care about spoilers personally.
Yeah.
You can tell me. I don't give a fuck.
I mean, it's been about 8 seasons in, so like it's kind of the things I'm talking. You know, we're discussing here aren't really. Spoiler it. I mean, especially since the 8th season just happened. If a lot of people haven't watched it, that's kind of on them.
Heard by now.
Yeah, like our general rule for spoilers is if you didn't see it the week of, then don't cry.
Yeah,
shit out of luck.
You're SOL, man.
Well, I was using this example a few podcasts ago. The reason I don't give a fuck about spoilers is because growing up as a poor kid, I never got taken to the movies.
Yeah.
So I would be like, I'd walk up to my friends every Monday because I knew the motherfuckers got taken to the movies. I'm like, so what happened in this movie? I need to know what's going on. So I'm just used to people telling me what they just. I don't care about spoilers. You know, now that I'm a grown ass man, I will take my ass to go see the movie. I don't care if I already know what happens. I'm interested to see, you know, what the director had in mind and what he's trying to put on the screen. So that's where I'm coming from.
You see,
normal people seem to care a little bit more than that. But
yes, that's the perfect way to describe it. Normal people seem to have a problem with that. You know, sometimes it's enjoyable to tell him a story of a movie. You know, that movie I just watched. And then sometimes you just get the reaction, yeah?
Well, it's because you're not a good storyteller.
Fuck you.
But thank you for the synopsis. I appreciate it. You know?
Fuck you, asshole.
I mean, you did a service nonetheless.
Yeah,
Is that it, man?
That's it.
Does that conclude your shit?
That concludes my
shit. All right, well, we'll be right back. Hey, podcast listeners, Joe C. here. Are you digging all the music talk and want to see what my band, The Fallen Electric, has in store? Check us out at thefallenelectric.com for all news, show dates, and contact information. Also, be sure to listen to our album, Never Seen the World, available on all digital music stores and streaming apps. It's time to get electrified.
Let's just go and waste